Hi, this is Geshe Michael with the next installment of Learning to Become a Tibetan Translator. We're taking off on the text of the book called Lekshe Junwang, which means the king of wishing trees, a book of fine explanation about grammar. And we're going to start straight through it. And while we're reading it, we'll not only get Tibetan grammar, but we'll get some practice on the different letters of the alphabet. Okay, so please say na, ma, naro, mo. So this is the opening line of this brief text, which summarizes all Tibetan grammar. Namo. Okay, namo is namas, which means I bow to you. Namaste means I bow to you, so namaste. But before this voiced consonant, the us changes to o. Okay, so namasta. Ta is an unvoiced namaste, so you don't say namo te. So namo. Then ka, shabkyu, ku, ra, shabkyu, ru, kuru. Okay, kuru. Namo, kuru. I bow down to my teacher. Okay, namo guru. Okay, namo guru. So it's tradition to do the first line in Sanskrit so that we can remember the kindness of the teachers from India, which is the source of Buddhist knowledge. Then I'm just going to read the Sanskrit. Manju. Manju. Okay, so it's ma nya za shapkyu. Manju. Then Westerners say Manju Gosha or something. Manju Shri. But the correct pronunciation is manju. I say manju. It's a short A, it's not a long A. You don't say manju Shri. It's manju, okay? Then people say that Tibetans didn't know what to write, like they forgot they had a J. They should have put manju instead of manju. But this is how it was pronounced in India. And this is the correct pronunciation. Say manju. Manju means soft, okay? Manju, like a pillow. Manju. Then ko, sha, okay, go sha. Say sha, sha, sha. Then this is a retroflex sha. Sanskrit has a retroflex letters, which means that retro means back, flex means bend. Retroflex means bend your tongue back, like that. Like touch the tip of your tongue to the top of your mouth and say sha. So it's not sha, it's sha. Go sha. Gosha. Gosha means voice, okay? Like young. We had young in the last class, meaning a song like Yang Chen Ma was Saraswati, okay? So here we have Manju Gosha. Manju Gosha, okay? Which means Manju Shri. Manju Shri, okay? Manju Gosha, gentle voice. And then this is the dative ending in Sanskrit, meaning to that object, like I bow down to that object, or I give the present to that person. So this becomes a long A and a ya, aya. So manju goshaya, manju goshaya. Say manju, goshaya. So it means I bow down to my teacher, who is Manjushri. Okay, Manjushri is the emanation of Lord Buddha, takes in the form of perfect wisdom. So we often bow down to Manjushri before a work which requires some intellectual stamina. Okay, so it means this work is based on, you will learn some kind of deep wisdom in this work. This is the grammar book, but the idea is that unless you learn the principles of grammar, you can't learn syntax. If you don't learn syntax, you can't learn to read a book. Okay, so we've been going through correct pronunciation. Why? If you don't make the sounds of a language correctly in your head, you can't read quickly. You can't read properly. You will always it'll always have the wrong sounds in your own mind, and it'll make it much more difficult to learn the language. If you don't distinguish between ka, say ka, 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 ga, nga, ga, the 6 sounds in your head. If you can't do that, you will never be a great translator. Okay, in your mind, in your head, you have to hear them differently. Ga, ka, ka, ga, nga, ga. So here we have ga, gosha. Okay, goshaya. Then you go from pronunciation to grammar, to syntax, to building sentences, and then you can learn to translate, okay? We're going the old way, okay? So I bow down to my teacher, who is Manjushri. This is a very typical prostration at the beginning of a book for, in our tradition of Jetsun because Jetsun was believed to have been an emanation of Manjushri himself. So here also, the author, who is a very strong proponent of the Jetsun tradition, is bowing down to his teacher as Manjushri, okay, as the God of wisdom, okay. So now we have the chuja. This whole thing is the chuja. Chuja means offering of praise, and the promise to compose the work. These are standard parts, openings to a Tibetan text. So let's go together. Ba, pa, latak, la, ma, lama means guru, okay, teacher. Mo, cha, naro, cho, ka, chok. Chok means, yeah, supreme, like coin chok means the three jewels, okay? Rare supreme. Da, na, tang. Let's go to this one. Tao, wa, yatak, ya, dengbu, ye, ra, yer. Yer means to divide. And all of these, this basic root, closest thing to a root in Tibetan, che, means to divide. Like chema means sand. Chemakara means white sand, which is the word for sugar in Tibetan. Yewa means division. Yen is the Vinaya term for a monastic schism. So this root means, yer means to divide. Yer, say yer, high tone, yer. Ma, dengbu, me, da, me. Me means without, okay, okay. Ba, agikui. Be, lama, chokdang, yerme be. Very typical. Now we're into verse, and it will be in verse for the rest of the text, okay? Bop, 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 bop. Bop, 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 bop. Very common, okay? Probably the most common Tibetan meter there is. Lama, chokdang, yerme be. Okay. Ao, nja, ma, njam, tao, pa, agiku, I, jampe. So jampel, which means manju shri, sometimes gets shortened in Tibetan to jampe, which just means gentle, but it means jampel, gentle, glorious, gentle voice. Okay, jampel. We had this word before: tao, wa, yatak, ya, na, sa, yang, jampe yang. Okay, or it could be jampel yang. Same thing. Okay, soft, glorious voice. Okay. This is actually a little bit of a misspelling here because, well, it's a little bit of a trick here. This spelling Taopa should be Taopa Lapel, which means glorious, Manju Shri, okay? But there's a word for warrior, which is Pawo, like Sattva, Bodhisattva, or Vira, like Virasana. Okay, Virabhadrasana. Okay, so he's making sort of a pun here. If you can feel it, okay. He inserted the word for warrior and bodhisattva in sattva in there, in the word for Manjushri. He snuck it in. Okay, you could take it as a misspelling, you could take it as a purposeful pun, you could take it as a subconscious pun. On his own part, okay. Jampe yang la se ka shapkyu ku sa ku po ta shapkyu tu ta tu na sa ne ku tu ne ku. You know the word kupa, which means respect or to pay honor. But there's an ancient form of the verb of the word I or me, which is normally nowadays nga, nga. You can say ku, okay? So gu can mean I. So you have to be careful here. But the next word is tu, which is related to du as in dundro, meaning those who go bent over, tiriyanch in Sanskrit. What's that? It's the Tibetan word and Sanskrit word for animal. So this is the word du, which is namas. I bow down, okay? So he's making a pun here too. Why? These grammarians love puns, okay? They are poets, heavy-duty poets. The wording is I bow down, but we know that the ku can also mean respect, which is often glued to the word bow down. I bow down with respect. So he's doing a pun here. It's a word which can mean I, or it can mean with respect. Ku pachene tune. Ku pachene tune. Ku, you can repeat. I respectfully bow down. It can be a pun also. So he's very cool. He's packing a lot of stuff in here. So what do you think this says? Anybody give me a... Go slow, okay? I bow down to Manjushri, who is... Yer means divide. Not. Yeah, indivisible. From. This dung means from. Normally it means and. Okay, this dung means from. From my high lama. My lama, who is high. Now that's an extremely extraordinary... It's common to bow down at the beginning of a text, but he has done something very unusual. It would be very, very typical to say, I bow down to my lama, who is none other than Manjushri, you know. But now he's reversed it. I bow down to Manjushri, who's almost as good as my lama. Okay? Who's indivisible from my... You know, it's very, very loaded. I've never seen this, okay? Normally it would be Jambe Yangdang Yermepe Lama Chogla Chaksalo or something like that. I'll bow down to my lama, who is indivisible from Manjushri. But he says, I bow down to Manjushri, who's just about as cool as my lama. Okay, like that's pretty amazing, okay? Then remember who his lama was? Yeah, Nguchu Dambada, extraordinary scholar, the greatest scholar of his century, probably the 1700s. Extraordinary writer, extraordinary practitioner, especially of Vajrayogini practice. Extraordinary. And his writings, all his writings are amazing. They're so amazing that... And he's also very famous for his questions and answers. He wrote whole books of questions and answers. People would ask him questions, he would answer. There are wonderful, hundreds of precious things in there. And he wrote no less than 2 full commentaries on the Vajrayogini practice, both of which we've translated. Okay. So I bow down to Manjushri, who is indivisible from my high lama. Okay, and that's a common way to start a book. There was a tradition in the ancient times that you would bow down to a certain object to identify the subject matter of the text you're writing. So if you bow down to Manjushri, it means you're going to be writing about ultimate reality and how things really work. Okay, why would grammar lead to that? Only through the door of grammar can you read the text about that. So it's considered a subject of almost of the emptiness tradition. Okay. So next time we'll go on to this opening. We call it Sombatam Chawa. Sombatam Chawa is a required element in the composition of a text, where having bowed down to your lama, partly as respect, partly to honor the lineage, and partly to identify the subject matter of the book, you move on to making an offering of a prostration, having made that prostration, then you promise to compose the book, Sombatam Chawa. And that's a Buddhist tradition that when you commit to, like we're doing a children's project, right? when you commit to a project, you never give it up until it's done. You either die or you finished it, but that's the only two possibilities. Okay, you never just quit. Okay, so there's a tradition that he's gonna, the next part of the next video will be starting with his pledge, Tsombar Tam Chawa, his pledge to compose the text. Okay, thank you. See you in the next video.